All right. Welcome, everyone, to this month's business vertical meetup. We have a very special guest with us today, an employer, Angi, represented by my good friend here, Audra Metzler. So why don't you everyone go ahead and find the react button and give a round of applause to Audra for joining us today. I did put in the chat a couple of links to Angie's kind of career page and handshake, etc., for you all to take a look at. It was also in the calendar invite to everybody. And we're going to have a great conversation today. And at the end of the presentation, we'll have opportunity for Q&A, which will be excellent. So if you want in the chat, just say hi, what you do here at SNHU. And with that, I will hand over to Audra to introduce herself and start the presentation. Audra, take it away.
Yes, thank you so much, Corey. And thank you all for welcoming me, having me here. I am here with Angi, like Corey said, and we work really closely with campus students, campus faculty. I oversee the campus recruitment team for Angi. So I'm really excited to kind of uncover today some of the value that we can bring to your students and just kind of share a clear picture of Angi as a whole, career pathways, especially for really just talking through ways we can support your students and those outcomes for graduates. So I'll go ahead and share my screen here and let me know if you can see this once I pull it up here. And thank you, by the way, for the jacket, Kelly. I got it from TJ Maxx. We love it.
Yeah. Oh, I love TJ Maxx.
Can never go
Love
wrong.
it. Yes, and we can see your screen.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you all. So yes, this is going to be a quick intro slide here. Whoops. My cat decided to jump up on my desk. We love that. uh, but yes, so this is a quick intro. I'm here with my teammate Stevie. She was unable to join today, but quick overview, like I mentioned, I oversee the campus recruiting team at Angi. I've been here since right around 2020, so just over 5 years, which is crazy. Time flies. But this is a link to my LinkedIn. Feel free to scan that. I'll put that in the chat as well afterwards. Um, but Stevie supports me. She's our campus recruiting team lead. And so the two of us work primarily with sales students, but we also do work with the corporate recruiting team. And I can kind of walk you all through what that division looks like. But yeah, really excited to be here. Happy to chat with y'all. And kicking things off, so when it comes to Angi, most people remember us as Angie's List. That's really how we started 30 years ago. We merged with a company called Home Advisor and then another couple sister companies as well. That's how we came to be Angi today. But we're a technology company in the home services space. So we connect those quality home service professionals. Think of contractors, roofers, landscapers, electricians, etc. We match them with consumers across categories. So homeowners that are looking to get repairs done in landscaping, remodeling, cleaning, you name it. At this point, we get about 200,000 service providers on our platform overall, and we get right around 80,000 service requests a day from homeowners. So definitely looking to grow. It's a good problem to have. But for your business students, definitely the sales roles, the account management roles, business operations, that's going to be a big growing division for us here. So um, just looking at the market itself, I always say that we're in a really great position because it's a huge market, just the home services market itself, right around $90 billion. At this point, we've generated right around 1.3 billion in revenue. That was back in 2023. That has grown. So with students coming in, we always just like to kind of set the scene that with working for a company like Angi, you're able to really work inside a scaled data-driven marketplace is how we describe it, with a lot of moving parts. So really a lot of opportunities to make an impact here. Uh, from a business model perspective, most of our revenue comes from the small and mid-sized business segment. So we provide those, mom and pop shops, those mid-sized businesses with a bunch of tools essentially to engage with potential homeowners, quoting, invoicing, advertising. So we really just make them kind of like a one-stop shop for their business. And then homeowners can use our platform to browse providers, read reviews, request quotes, book jobs. We really make the process just a lot easier for everyone involved. So for business students, yeah, just really getting that real exposure to how marketing, sales, operations, technology, they really all intersect, especially in a two-sided marketplace like Angi. So shedding a little bit more light here on just really the value proposition for students with the roles here. I think it's really compelling for students because we have a solid training for every entry-level role at Angi, regardless of if it's sales, if it's technology, if it's business operations. Big picture, though, I think students, especially as you guys know better than anyone, they really want to see how they can directly contribute in their first role. So really with the impact on local economies, our sales reps and really our customer service reps, our business development reps, they work face to face with those small business owners over video calls, but also we do phone calls, we do in-person get-togethers, but the main outreach there is going to be over the phone. All that to say, they're really helping those businesses, again, grow their customer base, stabilize or expand their business. Students can see like a very clear connection between what they're doing every day, the tasks that they're doing, and then that real economic impact in the communities across the country. We'd like to do like success stories, and we'll bring in contractors that have done really well, and they'll be able to actually chat with the folks on video calls they do each month. They'll bring in those business owners so they actually get to see the success of their sales. Second there, I do like to note there's a big focus within Angi on professional development. So this says professional sales training, but for really any of our divisions, there's going to be that professional development kind of first 12 weeks or so, where they're in lunch and learns, they're having really kind of structured workshops for that first week. It's more like a classroom setting. And then in the second week, they start to shadow more senior team members. And then on the third week, they're able to start to take on some of those small projects or initiatives. With that, it is something to where on the sales side specifically, we do offer more of a consultative selling approach. So with that, we're not going to be like handing them a script and hoping for the best. We really teach them how to ask good questions, how to understand a customer's business, how to recommend the right solution and not just any solution. And definitely we try to make it so that those skills, and we pride ourselves that these skills are transferable. You know, if these folks decide to go to leadership or account management or strategy, any client facing role down the line, it's really going to be a strong foundation for them. And third, lastly here, I'll just note with that career growth, any role that you're coming into Angi as an entry level, the majority of, I would say 98% of leadership, especially on the sales side, has started from that entry level role and grown from within. So I know we're very transparent about like performance metrics, advancement pathways, but there's a set tailored training that everyone in leadership goes through called LDP, Leadership Development Program. And that basically just allows those early career professionals to track their own development, meet with senior sales or senior leadership across sales or any other division. But really for students who respond well to structure, clear expectations, it's a really transparent growth ladder within any division here. So I'll pause there. Any questions so far? I know we have time for questions at the end too. I'll go ahead and move on to the next one, but feel free to jump in if any come up. But yeah, really speaking to the sales roles specifically. So this is what Stevie and I support primarily in our day-to-day. I think it's a great pathway for business students, just because this sales role does require, I would say, a broad range of those soft skills. So anyone who's showing leadership potential, strong communication, people who really have that competitive spirit tend to do really well in this role. And so with this, it's a high energy inside sales role, just in the sense that they are owning that process from start to finish. So while it is still fast paced, it is still consultative in that sense. So So they're building those relationships with those home service professionals. It would be nationwide, and they would have their own pipeline assigned to them of those businesses. Uh, Really, they're hitting those clear KPIs. It would be a biweekly sales target, and then learning how to really just drive conversations that lead to business outcomes for those business owners. Um, in addition, account management is another opportunity that we have. This would be for folks that start in that inside sales representative role. Maybe they want to stick to more of an individual contributor path, more of that senior kind of sales hunter role. They still want to be in that individual seat. Account management is an option. We also have enterprise level teams. So the focus really shifts there to more of that relationship building and customer success. And they would be working more with existing professional partners, just making sure that they're seeing value, identifying opportunities for growth, so on and so forth. Lastly, with that leadership opportunity, really within high performing employees at Angi, they can grow into team lead roles, strategic business development positions where they're overseeing multiple teams. So depending on their strengths and interests, the opportunities for growth go all the way up to senior level VP roles. And it is something to where they can really see like the broad career growth, especially as a business student. It's definitely not a dead end to where they come into this entry level role and then what do we do now? It's a huge focus and discussions in their weekly one-on-ones as well for that opportunity to grow and where they see themselves. So definitely big focus there. And then shifting gears a little bit here.
Audra, is it okay? I believe Dave has his hand raised for like a question.
Absolutely. Hey, Dave, how's it going?
Hey, good, Audra. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for joining.
Sure. Thank you. I'm a military career advisor, and I think this would be an excellent opportunity for transitioning military. But my question is, are these all remote roles?
Yes, they are all remote roles, all full time. We do have a couple, I would say, on the technology side and the data side. Those have some roles where they go into the office. We have offices in Denver, Indianapolis, and New York City, but the rest of the roles, those will be remote. And to your point, we do see a ton of success from folks with that military background. Just because they have that leadership, they're able to, build rapport with a bunch of different personalities and kind of execute. So definitely encourage, any students interested with that
Yeah,
background.
absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, I like the introduction to the technology to the industry is really nice for military because if you're coming from the defense industry, it's a little disorienting. So I think I really appreciate that you guys provide that training.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think some of our leadership too, especially on the sales side, have come from the military. So veterans definitely welcome. We love it.
It's a good
Good
place
question.
to be.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And I'll share too, just in the chat afterwards. So you have it. I'll share my email as well as the link to apply. So if you want to distribute that to any of your students, we're actively hiring. So definitely good timing there. But with the technology piece, I like to note that we know that not every business student is going to spend their career in sales. So we do work really closely with the corporate teams. They oversee, as you see here, technology and product, business operations, marketing and strategy. We have more of a creative side as well there, and then that customer experience team. Beyond sales, students can move into that technology space if there's someone who maybe wants to get into more. We have more solution sales roles on that side of things, but then we also have more of the traditional software engineering, product management, things like that. On the business operations side of things, we have those business intelligence roles, project management, really just that process optimization. And then, marketing and strategy. We have the digital marketing. We have more of the SEO side, which is going to be more data-based. And then we also have more of that creative content strategy side, as well as that customer experience team, which works really closely with sales operations and business operations. And they're really focused on that retention and that customer satisfaction. Really our goal is to tell students, don't worry about coming into a first role and like being locked in to that forever, just because we want them and, you know, everybody to see Angi as a company where you can really explore multiple paths over time. Last few slides here. So a little bit more into the career success. So with the development piece, we have a whole team that's focused at Angi on that learning and development using research-based practices, really blowing my mind sometimes with some of the programming that they can come out with just with enabling teams. But we use virtual training as well as like self-paced training. So they're able to have a really great bank of resources, regardless of what team they're on, to access on their own time. But it's definitely more like a live kind of training and development focus, to where we try to make it as much as like you're in the office as possible. So we use Google Meet and then Slack, so you're constantly in communication, but it's a smaller team setting as well. So coming into the role, they're never going to be on a team more than, you know, 8 to 10 at the maximum. And especially in that first 4 weeks, that's going to be the bulk of the training for most roles. For the sales role specifically, it's going to cover more of like industry context. They're going to be able to become really knowledgeable in the difference between electricians, roofers, you know, different segments of the US, what locations tend to perform. There's a lot of data that goes into the training, but the sales methodology and like professional communication skills, those are also touched on. So we don't assume they arrive knowing how to sell, but we teach and kind of scaffold that intentionally there. But beyond that, ongoing mentorship for any of our roles. We have those lunch and learns each week, from like product to technology to sales, where you're able to meet with VPs, ask questions. Beyond that, daily coaching and live feedback sessions are big. So I always say we're not a company where you have to wait for your annual review to know that you could have tweaked something earlier on to see a better result there. So there's weekly one-on-ones that every employee has with their direct manager, and then really just those best practices from sales frameworks, really just being able to give like strategic playbooks that have been proven, they've been tested, just to give students that solid foundation to build on. And then from here, just to give you an idea of who excels in this environment, kind of like what I mentioned earlier, we see a strong alignment with students that have that leadership experience. So whether that be in campus organizations, athletics, volunteer work, even like team-based projects, really anywhere where they've had to coordinate people, hit goals. Also strong communication skills, of course. Students who participate in class, you know, they're able to present well, they're able to write clearly, and they're not afraid to ask questions and discussions. And then really just a growth mindset. That's something that I think I hear the sales managers talk about the most, is really folks that are coachable. They really want folks that are super coachable, that can implement feedback. Really having that mindset of it's not a failure, you know, they say fail fast because it's the best way to learn. So failure is not a bad thing here. And then that results-oriented approach. Folks, if you see students who are really energized by set goals, metrics, or, you know, seeing that tangible impact of their work, they're going to do really well. These are students that you would maybe recommend for like leadership roles. Those are exactly the type of students we'd love to be connected to early. So if any stand out, feel free to connect us. And then with the clear career progression, I know I touched on this a little bit earlier, huge emphasis here. So we use transparent metrics, defined milestones. We use a program called Leapsome for our performance management. And that would be essentially something that each level takes place in, but that skill development from anywhere like negotiation, relationship management, technology proficiency, that's really what they build skill-wise in the curriculum. And then for high performers, we have that leadership pipeline that can move folks into those manager roles. Last couple slides here. Rewards and compensation. I know that that matters a lot for new graduates. So with the roles here, we do offer competitive base salary plus performance-based incentives. I know for sales specifically, it's going to be a base salary of $38,000, but with the uncapped commission, 72,500 is going to be that on target earnings for year one for the sales role. But it's uncapped commission. So they can earn more. I know top 10% was like at 190K last year. So for folks that do want to go into sales, that's kind of what that structure looks like. That's going to be the only base plus commission role. The other roles that I mentioned within like technology, that space, those are going to be more base specific. But if you have questions there, if any students do, I can always get those specific numbers for you. And then, yeah, we equip our employees with professional resources from day one. So we make sure they're trained up in Salesforce and really have the workspace set up. We provide all the equipment, laptop, headset, monitor. That way we're able to ensure that they're comfortable and confident when they start day one. And then really just some guidance for you all. If any students have questions on applications, I know the job market is wild these days. So a few things that make a big difference just from what we've seen, we definitely encourage, they really expand on those quantifiable examples. So I think if you're coaching students on resumes or projects, really helping them think in terms of those numbers, outcomes, whether it be like dollars raised, hours saved, really anything that translates directly to the outcome. That's really what a lot of leadership looks for, I know, on our team. And then emphasizing those transferable skills, promoting professional readiness, and really just highlighting resilience and adaptability, as well as encouraging them to come prepared with set examples. We always say the best interviews that we see are folks that use the STAR method: situation, task, action, results. So in some of our interview scorecards across divisions, they'll actually have that in their kind of hiring manager's cheat sheet. So that is something they can keep an eye out for as well. And then really last slide here, but next steps, would love to continue partnering with you all. I know Corey's been awesome connecting us today, and I'll have Corey send this out as well. But yeah, if you have any student referrals, we know great people. So feel free to send those our way. And then we are on campus virtually. We can host things on Handshake. We can host things like this with Corey through Microsoft Teams. So we're really flexible there and open to any ideas that you might have. But our contact information is there. I'll share that in the chat as well, just so you have that, as well as the application link here, just so we can put that in the chat, as well as if there are any other roles that students are interested outside of sales, I'll put the careers page here as well. But yeah, that's going to be kind of a broad overview with some specific ways that we can stay in touch, and I'll have Corey share this as well. That way, if anyone wants to reference it again. But thank you all. That was great. Any questions?
I just want to say, sorry, OH.
Oh, IO. Yes.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, another Buckeye for us, Dave.
All right. I love it. I love it. Love it.
Well, thank you, Audra, for being here and giving us an overview. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Larry Shane, and I'm a co-lead for the business vertical group, along with my additional co-lead, Kelly Gilliard. Now we will turn it over to the audience for an open Q&A. So feel free to raise your hand icon at the top of the screen if you have a question, or drop the question in the chat.
Thanks, Larry.
I didn't really have a question. I just wanted to say this was a great presentation. The slides were amazing. And yeah, like I put it in the chat, it feels like you're trying to recruit us. It sounds amazing. I just for you, like just in, your time working, with Angi, what have you seen be one of the biggest strengths and biggest weaknesses of the company?
Yeah. Well, thank you, Timothy, first of all. Love it. But yeah, for us, it's a great question. I think one of the biggest strengths that I like to speak on is just the fact that we, as a business, I kind of say it's the best of both worlds, to where we have that startup component where we're really big on making sure we're cutting edge in terms of technology. They're really big into building out. We have a new AI tool that's launched. So it's like an AI partner that can support homeowners when they come onto the site. So either way, I think the startup component of just being able to be in that small team setting and have the ability to chat with like the VP of product if I'm like an entry level person through a lunch and learn. Um, you really get more of that exposure and face time with leadership, I would say, that you would in a smaller company, but it's the benefit of like a large nationwide company. Um, and then I would say really just the ability to kind of have the stock options of that large company, be able to have the opportunity for growth, but still have the benefits of the startup vibe as well. So best of both worlds there. I would say in terms of the challenge, really the growing pains from um, when we did the merger in 2017, I would say the brand recognition has been the biggest hurdle for us. We've been seeing a lot of success there recently, I would say, just because time heals all. And so people now can recognize Angi, who we are, what we do, but we are still really trying to expand that brand presence. I would say beyond commercials and like TV marketing is our main source right now, but we're really trying to get creative in terms of like ways we can meet people where they are.
And Lisa has her hand up.
Hey, Lisa.
Hi, sorry, I thought I unmuted myself. You would think that after all these years, you would be good at knowing when you're muted.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
It's a struggle for me every day.
No, but I appreciate the presentation and the slides. I was while I was like listening to what you were explaining, I was very excited for our students that we have conversations, and especially they're trying to reach out, and you hit so many points that are quite popular: remote jobs, opportunities to learn, opportunities where it's very marketing or business related jobs. So my question to you is, nowadays with the use of AI, sometimes it's hard with the application process to actually make a connection or follow up with your application. And this is something like, if you're able to, we encourage students to follow up with their applications, try to connect with someone, send a message. So my question to you is like, what would you recommend? Like, what is the process at Angi? Like, is it actually possible to follow up with an application?
Great question. Yes, and I think that is honestly the number one topic that we hear from students is like, how do I stand out? Like, what does the process look like? Who does well here? So I definitely would say, so with the process, just as a foundation, so you can see on the sales side of things, it will start that application on all of our teams at Angi, our corporate recruiting teams and sales. We don't have any AI at the like application scanning phase. Really, the only AI that comes into play is when we join the interviews. We'll have, it's called Bright Hire. It's like an AI note-taking almost assistant. So it can help us like really have a log of what that interview looked like. But with the selection process, really what we look for is folks coming in for entry level roles in particular. They are able to explain their educational background clearly, so we can see they've graduated or when they're going to graduate. I think sometimes folks that aren't yet graduated can put maybe like a blank or expected, maybe they might not even put a number there, but I think putting that expected graduation date is really key, because that then can help us filter those students to the right process. We always encourage students, there's no really right or wrong time to apply for Angi, just because even if you're a freshman and you apply to a full-time role, our team is still going to physically look through that. We're going to reach out to you, and we're going to make sure that we can keep you nurtured in the process until you're at that point as a senior. So we'll invite you to events, keep that communication open. But for folks that are within 3 months of being able to start full-time, we'll be able to initiate that full interview process. And so from the initial phone call with a recruiter, it would be an assessment that they complete typically. Shouldn't take more than 20 to 30 minutes, but we use a vendor called Criteria Corp for those. And that's usually cognitive and personality based assessment. And then from there, they would meet with a member of leadership over Zoom, whether that be a sales manager, business operations manager, wherever they're looking to be, and then a director as well over Zoom. And that would be the last step there. But
Wow. You just like answer, it's like you read my mind and answer all those questions. Thank you so much.
Great news, Elisa. I'm glad. The great question though, too. I know it's helpful to see.
And next up is Kelly.
Yeah, Audra, it's me again. Um, yeah, so I'm gonna kind of back up what Tim said. A lot of great information, great like different culture and benefit things that are, awesome to hear about, and especially the growth aspect. I love that. People growing into different roles and whatnot. So yeah, thank you again for being here. Yeah, but I'm actually thinking of a specific student that I've been working with, that I think could possibly fit one of these positions or whatnot. He's really great, but I could see him possibly going towards sales or leadership or something more on the analytical marketing side. I don't know. There's a lot of different things I could kind of see him going into. But I'm just curious, like, what, since I mentioned all those aspects, like which roles do you think he could look at? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think for folks that like if it's a student that you really feel strongly about like recommending, you feel really confident in like their professionalism, they have that competitive spirit. If there's someone who does really well where they want to get out what they put in and they're not afraid to like hit the grindstone, ask questions, I really think that inside sales representative role is going to be the primary launch pad there as the best fit, because it is the main, I would say, the main kind of cog, if you will, in the system that will connect to so many other roles from that entry level role, whether it be business analytics, whether it be sales analytics or operations, or more of those communications relationship based side of things. So either or, but I'll put that in the link or in the chat as well, just so you guys have that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That's awesome.
And then
And then, oh, I had one more question. If somebody was like interested in informational interview or to kind of talk about some of these roles or whatnot, would you or somebody at the company be open to that or not?
Absolutely. I'll share as well in the chat here my my link so that we can, it's basically my office hours that I have open. And so let me share this here. But yeah, I host those every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So for any students that are curious, want to pop in, they can book on my calendar directly. And it's like a 15-minute Zoom call that we would just kind of see where they're at, what they're looking for. And if it is ever something to where they're looking at a non-sales role, that basically I meet with the corporate recruiting team each Friday.
Mhm.
And so I'm always able to bring resumes and profiles to that meeting, and then they're able to kind of reach out and initiate that process. But really big on keeping people posted throughout the
Yeah.
process as well at every point.
That's awesome, because I don't know how many companies do those kind of meetings. So that's awesome. So thank you. And yeah, I think Larry, you were going to say something, so I'll pass it back to you. Thank you.
Well, Anne, one of our deans who's in the audience wanted to confirm that all of the sales jobs are remote.
Yes, they are. They are
Okay.
remote.
Okay, good. And then we have David again.
Hey, David.
Hey. Yeah, so just a little bit more about veterans. Do you guys have ERGs at Angi?
We do.
Yeah, one for military.
We do. So we have a military employee resource group. We have women in business employee resource group. I think we have about 8 to 10 employee resource groups, and I can send that as well because we just created a few more. But definitely we have a veterans and military ERG, and they actually just did like some sort of volunteer opportunity in our Indianapolis office. But definitely.
Oh, that's great to hear. I know that's a nice thing for veterans to be connected up with other veterans when they first start. So I really appreciate that. Do you have specific veteran recruitment programs or?
So not at this time, but I will say we do try to match up if we see that someone's coming from a military background. We actually have 3 recruiters on our team who come from that background, so we always try to match them up, just so that they can have more common ground and talking points there.
Great idea. Great idea. Very good. Okay.
Good questions.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And then I kind of cut Ann's question off. I apologize, Ann. Do you offer internships and are they paid?
Great question. So on the sales side specifically, no. At this point, it would be full time. However, we are in the process. I'm in the process of getting it's a brand ambassador program off the ground. That would be most likely fall 2026. So under a year from now, we'll say. But that would be more so working with the campus recruitment team and helping promote events, create events, really promote our sales opportunities. So I'll reach out to Corey with more on that because we'd love to have any interested students apply because we're not looking to have, I think we could have 10 from each school, up to 10. So I'll share that. Aside from that, I do know more on the business operations side and data team, they will do internships in the summer. They'll post those typically 6 months in advance, and then they'll start that interview process 3 months in advance. I'd say that 3 month in advance rule is pretty standard for all of our rules, but yes, primarily full-time, some internship opportunities.
Okay, great. Thank you. So I have a question for you myself. I was doing a lot of poking around on your website yesterday, and I love the resources. I also really like your effort to try to draw more people into the trade schools and offering scholarships, things like that, because it seems like an area that would be a challenge for you that those numbers are diminishing. Would that be correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, we actually had an initiative, I think it was over this summer, but it was called the Trade Up program. And yeah, exactly to your point, Larry, we've seen a drop in skilled tradespeople across the United States. And so we've really been trying to do like creative partnership opportunities. I know they'll do basically those sponsorships and then those scholarships as well for students. So really encouraging people to kind of get back out there and um, get their hands dirty a little bit.
And then I had just one real quick follow-up question because it kind of gets into what the sales role would look like. So if I own a plumbing company and I want to start advertising on Angi and I contact you and I'm contacted by one of your salespeople, in terms of the type of research that you do, what would that salesperson tell that plumbing company owner of the type of increase in business they might expect from advertising on Angi?
That's a great question. And within Salesforce, so that's like our main CRM. And so on that end, they can see the business's website, they can see the business owner's name. Most of the calls that they're going to be having, the majority are going to be, this is the first time this business is hearing from us. We have a win again team. That would be a more senior team that works with businesses that maybe worked with us in the past and don't anymore, just to win their business back. Um, but to answer your question, yes, when they are going through, they have a ton of specific data points within Salesforce down to like the specific industry that contractor is in or that business owner is in. So they're able to say and really pull up, hey, we've had 80 requests in the past 2 days come through from homeowners actually in your area within your zip code. There's 3 to 4 businesses, it looks like, within this distance, but this is the business that you could be getting that you're missing from not capitalizing on this. So they're able to break it down based on like the size of the business to estimate and kind of forecast, hey, this is how much additional revenue you'd be bringing in. Um, Typically, they'll provide them, it could be around, depends on the pricing of the package they choose, but anywhere from 10 to 20 new homeowner qualified leads each week. That would be kind of our standard package. And that's kind of the benefit of they know these homeowners have expressed interest, and then our team has also vetted that homeowner to make sure it's a verified request in that way, so that once they connect, they're able to really hit the ground running. But great question. Yeah.
Well, all I can say is, wow, I just love your business model, and you just are so very thorough with how you've handled all of this.
Thank you, Larry. That's music to my ears because you never know. But I truly love working at Angi. I say I talk to more people working remotely at Angi that I did at companies where I was going into an office. So I'm happy to share. Happy to share.
Other questions?
Larry, I think I see one from David in the chat too. Are the providers vetted by you all?
Yeah, that's a
And
great
what's that
question.
process look like?
So we
If you
have
know.
it's a full background check that they go through. And I know it's a criminal background check on top of like a generic background check, but it's for the past 10 years. And so with that, we use an external vendor. I think it's Checker is the name of it. And so they can't be onboarded to the platform unless they pass that. So that is a huge selling point, especially for homeowners, but for the contractors, it really helps them stand out if people are trying to choose between a handful, for sure.
And do you rank your contractors? And if so, how do you determine which ones are at the top of the list and how they are ranked?
A great question. So they do have, there's a bunch of different kind of criteria from the data side that goes into it where they will more likely recommend a contracting business. It's basically like the likelihood of the business to be recommended to a homeowner. If they are more responsive to homeowners, if they are really timely in their project acceptances as well, they're not letting projects sit and stall. For those businesses, we do have like a specific team that kind of handles businesses that might be on that lower performing end just to make sure, hey, do they know how to use it properly? You know, is this the right fit? But we do tend to prioritize and kind of highlight those businesses who really make the most of the platform. Yeah. Good question though.
And by the way, I do like that you do say on your website, go get 3 bids
Right.
for the work.
Absolutely. You want to see your options. You want to have a second, third opinion. And so they do a good job of guiding the homeowners as well, and not just kind of leaving them out there blind, which you never know. I know I definitely need Angie's services because I don't know anything when it comes to fixing a sink or anything. So I definitely am going to be using them, but great questions.
And what would get a contractor kicked off of your platform?
Yeah. So so if they do not pass the background check, they would not be on the platform. If they're on the platform, um, we have like an escalations team that deals with any sort of homeowner complaints, any sort of unprofessionalism on the contractor's end. If there's any mismatch in like what was promised and then what was delivered. Um, it's nice because we have all of the communications between the homeowner and the contractor in our system. So we can really kind of step in as like a objective third party, but also remove that contractor if they're doing anything unsafe or not in line with our values. Yeah.
And that leads me to ask, and I don't mean to dominate here, but
You're fine.
how does Angi handle the disputes between a homeowner and a contractor?
Yeah, so we have a legal team as well if it gets to that point. Um, but I believe what the process is they meet with each individual separately and then try to do like a conflict resolution there. But if it's something to where they try to see where fault lies, if you will, and just that way they can either remove the contractor or offer like a credit or a reimbursement, or both to that homeowner, um, to kind of make up for that.
Okay, and Kelly has her hand up.
Hey, Kelly.
Hey. Yes, so I was just looking at the careers page and the open positions and whatnot. And it's great because there's a lot of opportunities in different states and everything. But I'm also seeing a lot in New York. Like I feel like that was dominating the page a little bit. And I was just curious if you had any insight behind that.
Great question. So those will still be remote
Right.
if they're not engineering roles. So that it can be confusing because it's like, wait, are these remote? Are they not? But yeah, if they're not a software engineering role or like a data machine learning role, it would be still remote.
Right. So like they have to, it's remote, but they need to be in that state.
Exactly.
Correct.
Good,
Okay.
good clarification. Yep. If it says the state next to the post, it's still remote, but they would need to live within the state border. Yeah. Within the
Right.
state.
Yeah. And I was just curious too. I guess my question was also like, is that I guess, is that a growing area or something like that? Is that why there's so many there? Or is there like, I don't know.
Good question. I think for some teams, when we shifted to be remote, some of those teams were already in the New York City office. And so because the teams still reside in there working
Right.
remotely, they're still in New York State. But it's definitely something to where I think that's just might be by happenstance, but it's a great question. Because we hire in every state across the US. I will say, outside of Washington State, and that's just for sales roles, and then California for sales roles, but every other state is open for business.
Cool. Thanks.
Great
And
question.
Torilyn is next.
Hi, Audra. Thank you
Hey,
for
Torilyn.
coming to spend some time with us today. Quick question for you. And you may have mentioned this earlier in your presentation, so I apologize if you're having to repeat it, but what do you think separates your company from like other home service um, or not positions, but organizations or like marketplaces? What do you think? Because I think like one of the competitors is like Thumbtack, and you have a few others out there. But what do you feel personally separates you all?
Yeah, I said it's everything, but that is another great question. So really the biggest kind of differentiating factor, I would say, is the level of like human support that we offer at Angi. We've implemented some of those new AI tools, but what we've seen is we actually had our all hands, like our all company all hands last week, and our CEO was talking about how um, we might be seen as a little bit slower on the AI boom, where some of our smaller competitors, because they don't have as large of workforce, they've really tapped into that. And so while they are really scaling on that front in terms of like AI and really being maybe a little bit more visible in that space within their platform, um, we've seen year over year our NPS scores within homeowners and business owners have gone up, just because we do have such a vast like customer support team of folks. And so I would say that does set us apart. And then really just the ability to have the data and like research and learnings from the past 30 years when we were Angie's List, um, has really, I would say, assisted us just in knowing uh, what we can continue to do growth wise and mitigate risk, as opposed to some of those newer, smaller companies. So that would kind of be the trade-off, I would say. But great question.
Thank
And
you. That makes a lot of sense, because what I was hearing was that you're focused more on the human component as opposed to trends or other aspects. So yeah, that's really neat. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
and guess who is back? Kelly.
Hi, Kelly.
Hey.
I
Thanks,
love
Larry. Okay, so if you can even tell us this, and if you can't, it's okay. But like the resume and application review process, do you know like what that looks like? Or are humans actually looking at it? Are is AI doing some of that? ATS systems, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's helpful to know because in this day and age, yeah, some of the larger companies, I will say, from what I've noticed, just prefacing, global companies, I think tend to use more of those AI parsing tools at the onset. Um, So I would say if you have students applying to like the Microsofts, the Googles, things like that, I will say for Angi in particular, just speaking for our team, we do have humans at that start and then at every step of the way. So recruiters, they're responsible for going through those applications. And they have to get through all of their applications by the end of the day. So we do pride ourselves on that timely outreach too. But essentially the way it's set up, we use Greenhouse as our ATS. And so the only automation that would take place that could potentially like drop someone out of consideration at that first stage would just be if they state that they reside in I think it's like, yeah, Washington or California, just because we don't hire there for the sales roles. So it would send them a rejection email stating that we don't hire in that location. And then if they do not meet or if they require full US sponsorship, we work with and can accept temporary visa sponsorships, EAD, anything like that, but we can't outright sponsor. So if they do state that they would need full-time sponsorship, that would also notify them that we don't do that. But outside of that, our team does tend to veer on, let's have a call. You know, if you're applying, you're interested, a conversation can speak a lot more than a resume. So from there, we'll typically tailor it based on the process. But yeah, that would be kind of how we approach it, if that helps.
Okay. Yeah, great. Thank you.
Good question.
Okay, last call for questions. If not, then Corey, do you want to help us conclude?
Yes, I can. Love the interaction, the questions, very thorough and deep dive. Thanks for being such a champ, Audra. We really appreciate you and your time today. I think you posted quite a few things in the chat for how folks can connect with you. If anyone else has a question or missed how to do that, feel free to reach out to me. I can get you connected with Audra as well. And I believe Stevie and myself are going to be thinking about doing another type of event for students probably in January sometime. We've been kicking around that. So once I know more details there, I'll share that with all of you so we can share that out with students. But again, thank you so much again, Audra. You've been great. You were here for Business Vertical Week as well with those events. So we really enjoy having Angi be a part of all these engagements with us and for our students. So again, truly appreciate you. We'll be in touch soon, and we'll kind of end it there. But did you want to, I guess I'll hand it over to you if you had any final thoughts.
Yeah, no, this was literally one of the best sessions I think I've ever done. So thank you. You all have been so engaging, and it makes me excited to share the opportunities and really be able to work for Angi. And also, I love my job because I can work with great people like you. So excited to be back in January, and I'll send Corey a quick recap just with like a quick list of all the links, just so they're kind of in a one-stop shop there for you. But otherwise, thank you all so much. And if any of your students ever have any questions, I always say I'm an open book. Connect with me on LinkedIn, and the more questions, the better. So thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Audra. Enjoy the rest of your day,
Have a
everybody.
great day. Have a great day.
Have a good one.
Can end the recording. Kelly, you're on mute.